It's a pleasure to follow the Right Honourable Member for Hayes and Harlington, and I'd like to begin by echoing what he said there about how moving and inspiring it was to be able to speak with unpaid carers yesterday in Parliament. And I agree that even a brief first of conversations with an unpaid carer leaves you in no doubt about the urgency of the situation and the importance of ensuring better support for them. I'll keep my comments very brief, as I think that other members have already outlined the importance of today's debate in ways far more eloquent than I could. But the 2 points that I think I'd like to sort of impress upon the House are as follows. The first is that unpaid carers make an incredible contribution to society. As well as caring for their loved ones, obviously, they also make an incredible contribution to society, and one I think that we need to value more. And the second one, of course, then, is that the need for us to bring about a situation where they are given better financial and practical support. Others have already mentioned the urgency of the situation, not least due to the rising cost of living and the pressures, that financial pressures that is imposing on so many families and unpaid carers. I know of many in my own constituency who, sadly, 72% of whom will be off the mains gas network, reliant on heating oil, for example, to keep their homes warm. And of course, for those with caring responsibilities, it's essential that they are able to heat their homes, not just through the harshest of winter months, but also the shoulder months as well. And so they already have to pay a great deal more than some of their neighbours who don't have the same requirements and caring responsibilities. As in Ceredigion, I know there are so many charitable organisations that do great work in supporting unpaid carers, and indeed local authorities as well. My own county council does its very best to ensure that the unpaid carers that they are aware of are given advice, support where possible, and resources, so that they know the varying financial and practical support that is available to them. It is important, and these initiatives we need to remember, because in a place like Ceredigion, it's estimated that some over 7,000 people are unpaid carers, or that's equivalent to some 10.5% of the population. They make an incredible contribution, and others have mentioned, the value in financial terms of the contribution that unpaid carers make in terms of the health and social system. And just in Ceredigion, our unpaid carers make a contribution of some £700 million a year. That's an incredible contribution that they make. And if we were to be frank here, it's a contribution also that ensures that local health and social care systems don't collapse under the rising demands that they face. But nevertheless, we know, and others have mentioned, that some 73% of those who are caring or who have provided care in their lifetimes don't identify themselves as unpaid carers. And that does mean that it is difficult to truly understand how many are in need of support, whether that is in terms of financial support or also respite and other practical measures of support. And so I would very much support the calls that other members have made. We really do need to bring about measures that will force public authorities in particular to seek out unpaid carers, to identify them, whether that is in the realms of education or the NHS. Because if we don't know how many people living in our communities are unpaid carers, it does make it difficult to effectively plan for services such as respite, such as day centres and the like, which I know from speaking with unpaid carers in my constituency are vital lifelines. But lifelines, sadly, are being cut back. I would end my comments just by dwelling a little bit on the financial support for carers. We've heard about the ways in which the rising cost of living is having a serious impact on their finances. How many unpaid carers are deeply worried about the financial prospects. Just under half are already saying that they're cutting back on essentials. And of course, we also know that more and more unpaid carers are having to spend their own money and resources to procure essential items that are for their loved ones, whether that is in the terms of supplies such as incontinence pads, other equipment. I think most members here this afternoon would agree with me that those are the types of supplies and equipment that they should be provided for by the state, by society, and not something that they should have to dip into their own savings and resources to buy. But also I'd just like to point out about this debate about the inadequacy of the carers allowance. There is a very important point that I think we should bear in mind about the structure of carers allowance in itself. The thresholds that are imposed that mean that many people aren't eligible or entitled to the support, despite the fact that they will give hours and hours of unpaid care every week. But also the actual financial value of the payment itself. And the Right Honourable Member for Hayes and Harlington, who spoke before me, outlined the inadequacy of the current level of payment. And I would just end by pointing out that some 84% of those asked in a poll conducted by YouGov earlier this year thought that unpaid carers should receive additional financial support. There is clearly widespread public support for increasing the support that is given to unpaid carers. And when we consider the some £162 billion contribution they do every year just across England and Wales, the £700 million that unpaid carers in Ceredigion make, I think it's high time that we do look again at carers allowance and the support, the direct financial support that they are given by society. They give so much to society. I think it's now time for society and the state to pay them back as well.